Good morning to everyone. I'm going to talk about Triton submarines, but first, let me introduce you a short submarine story. Sorry. The first sub that was ever built was in 1958, and it was called the 1858, and it was called the Ictineu 1. It was a sub operated without an engine, and it could reach shallow waters. 70 years later, we had the bathysphere with 22 millimeters of thickness. This bathysphere could have communications with the surface through a cable. Then, 17 years later, we had the improved bathysphere. The main difference was the thickness of the wall. This one, the improved one, had little more thickness of the first bathysphere. Then we had the Trieste. The Trieste marked a new beginning because it was the first sub in the whole history to reach the deepest point. By that time was 10,912 meters. Then we got Jacques Cousteau with the first sub that operated in the Antarctica, and it was the first sub that was seen in documentaries as well. In 1964, we got the Trieste number 2, and it was special because it was the first sub that had installed a manipulator arm in order to work underwater. Then we have my favorite one, the Pisces. Pisces was the protagonist of one of the most important rescues in the submarine story. This sub was stuck in the bottom at 480 meters, and it only had 72 hours of oxygen capacity. But the reality was that they spent 84 hours and 30 minutes at the bottom. When they got rescued, only 12 minutes of oxygen were left. Since this incident happened, all the submarines that have been built have been based on this, especially when designing the life support systems. All of our subs, all the Triton subs, can guarantee a 96 hours of survival time. Then, about 1987, we got the Mir models. The Mir models were models that operated at 6,000 meters of depth, and they used to conduct expeditions to the Titanic. Until then, nowadays, we have this kind of submersibles. You can see that the main structure is different as the ones that I mentioned before, and the main characteristic is the acrylic sphere. This acrylic sphere provides us with almost 360 degrees of visibility. Our first model was the 1K2 that can reach 200 meters and can allocate one passenger and one pilot. Now that I have introduced you the company, let me show you a short video because I want you to understand what Triton Submarines is.
I was in a very remarkable
We need to get hundreds of these get on order.
anything I've done in my entire life, personal and professional.
So 15 years ago, Triton Submarines opened its first office in Florida, and in 2017, we opened our first, second office, but our first Spanish office in Spain, where I have the pleasure to work as a service manager and a naval engineer. The last sub that we built was the 7K3, and it's a very special and unique sub because she has the the deepest sphere ever built in the whole history. This sphere has a thickness of 322 millimeters, and this sub can reach almost 2,300 meters of depth. It's a scientific sub intended for ocean exploration. Triton, throughout its history, has developed and conducted a lot of expeditions all over the world in every ocean. One of our remarkable expeditions was the Titanic one. The most exciting thing was to see how the Titanic is being consumed by the ocean. The ocean is bringing the ship to her elemental form, but at the same time, the Titanic is a sanctuary for many marine species. Triton conducts expeditions, archaeological expeditions. We also conduct missions, recovery missions for plane crashes, etc. We can bring the expert to the bottom to see with their own eyes the remains on first hand. Triton was the first company to record the footage of the giant squid, and we also conduct the second dive to the Antarctica after Cousteau. This marked a turning point in our history of ocean exploration and research. The ocean floor has been inhospitable, inaccessible, and almost mythological. Now, people can go down and see with their own eyes the ocean, and they can access it. Another important expedition was the one that we did in the Antarctica. Dives were made in extreme conditions, but what we found quite literally was an ocean floor gleaming with life. There was the white snow, the marine snow, which is organic material descending from the top. And in that point of the ocean in the Antarctica was thicker than anywhere else. We also discovered that it's the main primary food source for many species. In fact, experts extracted a rock and they found more than a dozen of different marine species. In such extreme conditions, it is challenging for the animals to survive, which is why the most dominant predators were the invertebrates, just like 350 million years ago. So these expeditions were akin to observing the ocean from the past. Another significant and remarkable expedition was the one that involved the research of coral reefs. Previously unstudied reefs were discovered, but we could verify the profound impact of the ocean warming and the acidification of the oceans on these species. In fact, there was only one group of coral reefs that was capable to withstand these conditions, the ocean warming, the acidification of the ocean, of the water, everything. So this emphasizes the need to protect not only the coral reefs, but also all oceanic life. And now, we arrive at the Triton's most important sub, the one that reached the deepest point on the Earth, surpassing all world records. This sub reached a depth of 10,928 meters, and it is certified to reach any depth. Now, we are not only exploring the bottom of the ocean, we are reaching the deepest point on our planet. That, a few years ago, was unbelievable. So, the more we conduct, the more dives we conduct, the more we explore, we will understand better our ocean. This submersible was groundbreaking. It's the first time of the whole history that we have a vehicle that enables us to reach any depth of our planet, of our ocean. So, I can assure you that we are only in the beginning of an era, plenty of discoveries. The second most important challenge of this expedition was to map the trenches of the 5 oceans to find the deepest point. That led us to wealth a geographical discoveries such mountains, valleys, etc. But it's astonishing how we have marked and named all or most of all these geographical landmarks on Mars, and on our own planet, with 2/3 of its surface covered in water, much remains unknown. During all these dives, in these extreme conditions, a lot of species were discovered. So with the human eyes, we witnessed roles, behaviors, and interactions of organisms in ecosystems found at almost 11 kilometers beneath the surface of the water. In these conditions, there's immense pressure, the sunlight doesn't penetrate. However, the ocean revealed an ecosystem teeming with life. At those depths, photosynthesis doesn't occur. So all these discoveries challenged our long-standing perception on how life originates. So the evolution of this technology makes a new beginning. Our main mission is to bring the ocean closer to the public, regardless who is on board, whether billionaires on yachts or scientists with research equipment. We want, in a near future, to make those journeys and investigations more accessible to everyone and much easier. We don't have to forget that the ocean is essential for human life. It covers the 70% of the Earth's surface, and it's the environment that supports the most life. The ocean provides food, provides resources, serves as transportation for goods and people, and it also supplies medicines. But humans, unfortunately, we are polluting it. Our activities contribute to the global warming, the acidification of the oceans, and the alteration of its chemical composition. Only the 0.5% of the entire ocean is protected. It is crucial to raise awareness worldwide because the ocean is a source of rejuvenation. It's a source of discovery and much more. It is a heritage for a lot of different cultures. We have to protect the ocean. Humans have to learn to live on a way that we can support the ocean, because the ocean sustains life. There's hope because we know how nature can reclaim its territory, but there's only hope if we give it a chance by minimizing our human pressure. Every human being has to take responsibility for caring for the ocean. I didn't want to finish this talk without expressing my gratitude to all the esteemed Women Congress and Triton team for making it possible for me to be here today. I am also proud to have been the first female engineer hired in Triton's Barcelona's office. I encourage all women to venture into this unknown world because there's still much to discover, there's still much to investigate, and until we understand the ocean, it's challenging to expect that we can protect it effectively. I would like to conclude this talk with a quote that I really like that says that every breath that we take comes from the ocean. Humans only protect what we love, and we only love what we know. So, protect the ocean and you will be protecting yourself. Thank you so much.